So we're getting ready for the next step in the countdown of events leading up to. We had Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, then comes Sukkot, Simchas Torah, LiveRecording. So the next step is Kapuros. What is Kapuros? Well, we know the drill with Kapuros. Kapuros represents the Nefesh Bahamas. It represents we're bringing a carbon. It's the closest that we have to a physical carbon that we're bringing. We have to understand that when we bring the carbon, the person bringing the carbon was actually going through the process of whatever the animal was going through. He was bringing it. There was resistance. Then he saw it brought up for the shechting. It gets pretty intense. Taking the chicken, and it's as we say, it's to the core, getting into the process, and there's a sacrifice. It's pretty ancient if you think about it. But what is really happening? What are we doing? What are we trying to create space for now that we shech the chicken? What are we creating space for? What is supposed to happen now? We go through these processes, we have these amazing realizations and connections and breakthroughs, and now what? What are we creating space for? And this is the part that it's very important. Integration is super important. So as we're going to bring the sacrifice, Kapuros, what's the integration? What are we doing? So we know Nis'avale Kadosh Baruch Hu Lisladiri B'Chatanim. The Eibishter had a desire, he had a taiva, to have a dwelling space here in the Tachtonim, here in Welt. He wanted to have a space that he can come in and he can land. His word can be heard, he can express himself. Now, in the process of all that, there is a lot of interference with that. The animalistic soul is in the way of that. There's different clippers, different distractions we're not getting into as to why it happened. That had to happen. It's all by design, so we can bring consciousness to light. We know this, we covered this many times, but that's not the point right now. But so there is, as we said before, machshava dibur ma'aseh, there is different interactions, and as we interact, there is different sparks, different. If one is in a conversation with another person, you can have a conversation with person A, and you have one type of conversation, it triggers something within you for good or better. Person B triggers something else within you. It brings out your beauty, your inner compassion that you have. Each and every person brings out something else. In the animalistic world, everything is done in the physical. The animalistic world and the animalistic soul, which is the body, is going through a process through chomer levenim. It goes through a process from physical interactions. That's the only way it understands. So in other words, from Mata Maila, we're going from the lowest frequency. In order for me to receive something, in order for one to get something, I have to physically work. I have to get up. I have to go do it in order for me to receive. I have to make a phone call. I have to put in the work in order for me to receive it. That is in the lowest frequency. There is something else. There is the Nefesh Elokus. The Nefesh Elokus is the Neshama, and this operates on a whole different system. He starts, the Nefesh Bahamas works with Seichel. When I understand, I need to understand it. Once I understand it, I'm going to do it. If I don't understand it, I can't do it. And from that, there is a process. I make money this way, I understand what I'm doing. Then there's a whole different process, which is the Nefesh Elokus, which works it starts where seichel finishes. When common sense expires, that's where it kicks in. It's called emunah. Emunah is beyond logic. It makes no sense. That's exactly the point. It's not supposed to make any sense. Because if it makes sense, you're still an animalistic soul. You're still working with 1 + 1 = 2. But we are in a higher consciousness. We have Das Elyon. We have Lashon HaKodesh, which is the holy tongue. Lashon HaKodesh is cherepifia. It's a sword, it's a knife in your mouth. The tongue cuts. It carves out manifestations. We can create with the tongue. But in order for there to be a sharp tongue, a sharp knife, you have to sharpen the knife. And the way to sharpen is to be very careful what you speak. Be careful what you think. Be careful what you do. And if you want to have the koyach of manifesting, you need to be careful what you speak. You can't speak lashon hara. You can't speak. You can't just talk freely. Be accountable about what you're saying. Once we have the tongue sharpened, that's when we can tap into emunah. Now, what happens when we have emunah? So, the Kitamaran gets into detail with that. We're talking here about Bria Chadasha. Bria Chadasha means that, as we said before, the whole earth, everything here, the air that we breathe, everything that goes on, thin air, sometimes I have to give the mashal from food flies. They just appear out of nowhere. They just appear. It's a yichud, lahavdul, but it's a low conscience from the fruit sitting out, and then the fly just is created from the bacteria. There it comes. It just pops out of nowhere. Out of thin air, you have the flies. They come. They're just there. You can have a bag that's closed, it's sealed, and all of a sudden they're there. They're created from the air that comes contact with the fruit. So too, the same way we create by having physical interactions, we also can create by having emunah. When we have emunah, when we tap into beyond logic, beyond what makes sense, there is a new creation. It's called the Bria Chadasha. A new creation appears. It's the impossible. It makes no sense. I don't know where. I don't know how. I do the due diligence and then just let it happen. Most of the time, the problem is that we get in the way of the final product of it becoming. We get in the way by saying something, speaking, misdirecting it, forgetting what the intention was. I have an intention. How many times do we have an intention? And we drill it, we daven for it, we go to the mikveh, light candles for it, bake challahs for it, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I get distracted because I'm in das tachten, I'm in low frequency, low consciousness, I forget my intention, and then it's pulling me to the right, but I'm pulling to the left, and then I'm in pain. I don't know why. Why is it not happening? Why can't I catch a break? You can't catch a break because what's your intention? Are you still aligned with your intention, or are you already on to a new intention? So we're talking here about Bria Chadasha. Bria Chadasha, this is a powerful concept. There is a koich halada in thin air. The desire of Eibishter is everywhere. It's in Malchus, it's in planet Earth, it's everywhere. Thin air. Out of thin air you can create. Emes me'eretz titzmach. It comes out from nowhere. It just appears. So tapping into emunah, aligning myself, and then creating. Of course, it helps if you have somebody to bounce it off with. So once again, it triggers. It makes a stronger spark, a stronger creation. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you can just be mizbainen on it, and we can elaborate on it a little more. But the point is that by doing the kaparas, by doing the shechting of the kapara, we are purging, cleaning, eliminating the interaction, the yichud, from physical contact, physical touch, where in order for me to make A, B, and C, I have to do kach v'kach, which may take me a year, 2 or 10, in order for me to climb out from where I need to be, climb out from the space that I'm at. So much trauma, generational, a lifetime, so much pain. But then by tapping into Emunah, sorry about that, by doing the kaparas, by eliminating that interaction of physical, we are creating space, creating space for a new way of accomplishing what needs to be accomplished. So this should be the intention with the kaparas. If you already did kaparas, it makes no difference. Don't worry about it. It's time, past, present, future. It's all one. Once it's done, you can tap into it. It's the same as you had a vacation and then you reminisce and you remember how it was, and it brings back memories. So when you think of a lemon, your mouth gets sour. When you think of a food, you get excited again. It's the same thing. You can just tap into it. It's no big deal. So we're Tafshin Pei Gimel. It's powerful. It's wild. It's full of color. Very strong. We're starting to. We're getting the letters. We're opening up, learning how to operate with this new flow, with this revelation of Eibishter everywhere. He's right here. Yid Gimel Medes Rachman. The doors are wide open. The doors are wide open. Try it. Go daven and let it flow. It happens. It's there. Ask, you shall receive. So there should be a successful elimination of the way we used to interact with the Shibut Mitzrayim, which was in physical labor, the painful process, which is endless, one block on top of another one, and just tap into a Bria Chadasha. Creating, opening up new possibility, just like that. Just like striking a match in thin air, and the flame is there. And once again, this is the Be'eres HaShechafri Yitzchak, the Be'eres HaShechafri Yitzchak v'lo yachla plishtim listam. They couldn't close. Yitzchak Avinu was digging these wells. What are we talking about? What are these wells? These wells are this exactly. These fountains of knowledge, of this rich understanding, especially once we're dealing with Yitzchak Avinu, which is Gevuras, Tanig Bil Temurgish. Tanig Bil Temurgish, once again, it's we have to bring it back into play. Tanig Bil Temurgish means that when you're feeling the squeeze, you're feeling you're in the bottom, you're completely worn out. It's completely rotted away. There's nothing left. We have the koyach to tap into right there. That's where it's coming from. That's where the emes me'eretz titzmach. That's when it's going to start growing. Don't give up. Don't give up. This is not it's not a challenge. It's not a challenge. What I'm saying is not a challenge. It's what the Svarim HaKadoshim are telling us. And it's available now that we can, with our tmimus, with the innocence that we have, taking it literally the way they're saying it. Just prepare yourself for the miracles to start pouring in. The miracles are there. The miracle is just that we should see it. That not to stop getting excited and just it's matter of fact. Have an awesome morning. And Bezrat Hashem Li Neder, we will speak tomorrow once again, God willing.